This video looks at V2H, which is, some of you may know, or all of you may know, is the ability to run your house from your Atto 3. Now, just to be very clear, this is not a... So this is a how-to guide in one sense, and we touch on all the different technologies and how to do it, but it's not for you to do it yourself. You absolutely need an electrician to implement any of these schemes. This is really to provide you with the knowledge so you can have an intelligent conversation with your electrician. This video is just to tell you about the technology, what parts you need, what hurdles you need to jump over, and the various problems you may occur. But it's so that you can have a conversation with your electrician. I will say it turned out to be much simpler than I thought, and a damn sight cheaper than I thought. I thought it would cost thousands and thousands, but you can really do it for under a couple of grand, maybe even as low as down to 1,000, depending on how you do it. But it is much simpler than I thought, and I think you'll be surprised at just how simple it is. Peter was kind enough to show me how he uses his Atto 3 to charge his home. And Peter, I thank you very much for this. So now this will charge into your house. So we'll see Peter again a bit later on in the video. So vehicle to home technology is connecting your vehicle, the Atto 3, to your house in such a way that your house uses the battery of the Atto 3 to run the electrical circuits in your house. Now, sounds simple. Now there are two ways of doing this. One is where the Atto 3 is directly plugged into your house circuitry. The second way is to plug the Atto 3 into your house home battery, so that it's effectively charging your battery. Now, if you look at this diagram, you'll see that the Atto 3 has got the three arrows. You'll see the arrow directly to the house. That's where the Atto 3 is, the battery of the Atto 3 is being used by the home for the circuitry, electrical circuitry of the house, and the other is via the battery. Now there's a very, very important little part in this diagram, and that are the arrows. You'll see the arrows are in one direction. So the battery is charging the home battery, or it's either running the house. There's no battery, there's no power coming the other way, so it's not bidirectional. So that brings me into the two-way charger. Now, if you plug a two-way charger in, if you have a two-way charger set up, if you can afford it, I mean they're about 10 grand each, but if you have a two-way charger in, what can happen is that the charger decides which way the power goes. So we can say, well, we've got plenty of power, so let's charge the Atto 3, or it says that the house needs it. So if you don't have a two-way charger, what you have to do is to have two plugs. One which is towards the house, so that when you've got that plugged in, you are sending the power to the home or the home battery. Then you unplug it and plug in your normal charger to charge your Atto 3. Now, if that's too much trouble, go spend 10 grand. The other issue with the two-way charger is, so at the moment, as at this date, which is 1st of October, only South Australia has approved them. So that they're not approved. It's not to say they won't be approved or there's a problem with them. It's just that you have to go through the drama of approving them. I understand that the South Australian Electrical Authority took 3 years to approve it. I'm not saying it's going to happen in any other state, but maybe just unplug it, just change your plugs. But anyway, okay, so we'll put the two-way charger to one side. You don't need a two-way charger to charge your house or to utilise the vehicle to home technology. So I'll just get that straight. Now, if you're going to if you're going to charge run your house electrical circuits off the Atto 3, the Atto 3's got a couple of challenges. Firstly, the power that comes out, the 240 volt power comes out, it's 240 volts. They've set it up not in an incorrect way, but in a way that challenges this, and I'll tell you. And I'm not an electrician, but apparently what there is actually two pins coming out, both with 120 volts or 110 volts. I'm not sure if it would be 110, such that they're combined to make 240 volts. And that challenges some electricians. There may be some issues. So what the solution is to set up what's called an isolation transformer. Now I'll read out what an isolation transformer is. Okay, an isolation transformer is used to transfer electrical power from an alternating source current, that's what we've got in the Atto 3, to some equipment or device, isolating the power device from the power source, usually for safety reasons. So basically what it does is it takes the 240 volts that's coming out of the Atto 3, and it goes through a magnet. There's a whole lot of different ways of doing it, but basically it translates that 240 volts into a normal 240 volts. Not that I'm saying that anything's wrong with the Atto 3 240 volts, but it's just a better thing. There's some other things too. Is it's a lot safer because there's no direct line of electricity, because it's actually isolated through a magnet. There's noise reduction. There's the grounding, the proper grounding or earthing is done, which the house is going to require. The only issue is that they're expensive. They're well over $1,000 to get one. But you will need it if you're going directly to the house circuitry. If you're going to the battery, the house battery, depending, ask your electrician, but you may not need it. You might just be able to plug the cable straight into the input of the battery as an AC input. I mean, that's up to you and your electrician. But you do need to know that the Atto 3 has that issue. The other issue is that the power that comes out of the Atto 3 that you can use is effectively no more than about 12 amps. So you're really only pulling 12 amps out, which isn't a lot. I mean, when you're charging a battery, it's good. Most houses probably use a little bit more than 12 volts, 12 amps. But anyway, that's again going back to your electrician. Maybe you put a small battery in between. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. When Peter came to pick up his frunk from me, he said, I asked him, how's your Atto 3 going? I asked everybody that. And he said, really good, I run my house off it. And that sparked my interest in this subject. He was also kind enough to invite me up to his house just to show me how he's got his setup. He's got quite a sophisticated setup. He's actually off the grid. So he runs everything off solar and off his Atto 3. So he's going to walk through fairly quickly, and so firstly we look at his battery and we go from there. So after we go through having a look at Peter's implementation, I'll walk you through how to set yours up, whether it's into a house or whether it's onto a battery. But I'll walk you through it anyway, so you understand what to say to the electrician or what to ask the electrician. So this is the battery.
That's the batteries.
They're
the charge controllers.
Yep.
They charge the batteries. That's the actual inverter. There's room there for another inverter.
So is the power that comes off the BYD, which is about 10 amps,
Yeah.
is that enough to run the house?
Most of the time, yeah, but if not, because it gets fed into here as a generator input, it uses that first, and then say it needs 3 kilowatts and it's only getting 2 from the car, it will pull a kilowatt out of here to supplement it, you know. So.
And how many kilowatts is this again?
That's 12, but I want to put another one in. It's enough, but another one would be a lot nicer.
So this is the 12 kilowatt battery, which is 20% the size of our Atto 3s. So from the Atto 3 charging plug, the cable goes through the isolating transformer, which isn't in this picture. It's a fair way away, and it's plugged into this box here as a generator input. So all you need was the isolated transformer and cables. So now this will charge into your house. This discussion is probably one of the rare occasions where the older generation, or the baby boomers as I say, will understand better than the new generation. Anyway, so here goes. Back in the 70s we used to have power shedding, and we may have that in the future. Anyway, so power shedding, what we used to do, some of us used to do, is we'd buy a power generator and would say to our electrician, can you put a power generator input into the breakout box? And they'll say, yeah, sure, and they'll charge us, $300 or $400. Things were cheap in those days. And then we'll go and buy a power generator. We'll go and buy a generator, start her up, plug it into the house when the power goes out, and we've got bingo, we've got power in the house. Now, it probably gave the game away as to how simple this really is when Peter said he plugs his Atto 3 into the generator input, and that's right. All we need is a generator input into the battery or into the house. So we can go to the so there's no difference between whether we've got the Atto 3 or whether we've got the a generator plugged into the input. The generator input wouldn't know the difference. The only thing we may have to do is to get the isolation transformer that I spoke to about before. And just one other thing, what comes standard with the power out from the Atto 3 is 10 amp. Now there are 12 amp ones available, as you can see from here. The Chris from Chris EV found in a recent video. Okay, so let's summarise. So the Atto 3 can be plugged into your house. It can be plugged into a battery, your home battery. So it's a fairly simple process. You need to ask your electrician to install a generator input into your breakout box or into the house so that it can take a generator input. If you're going into your house battery, there should already be a generator input in that battery. From what I understand, it comes standard, so you shouldn't have to spend anything on that. The second thing you need to do is to get a, you may or may not need this, it depends on the electrician, I suppose, but from what I understand, I think it's a good idea to get an isolation transformer so that the power coming out of the Atto 3 has a proper ground, and it has a safe output. Not saying that the Atto 3 is unsafe, but anyway, how much they cost, it depends on where you buy them from, but I understand that they're sub $1,000 or around $1,000, but I mean that's up to you. The other thing you may or may not need, depending on the power that you want to take out of the Atto 3, whether you want 10 amp or whether you want 12 amp. If you want 10 amp, there's nothing you need to do. All you need to do is to use the current vehicle to load connector that you've got. If you do want to go to 12 volts, 12 amps, then you need to buy the 12 amp version of that. The last thing you need to do is you need to get the electrician to cut the cable coming from the Atto 3 to the vehicle to load, and take off the double adapter thing on the end, and put in a connector to allow you to either plug into the isolation transformer or plug into the generator, whichever process you're using. So the electrician, going backwards, the electrician puts in the generator input, or if you've already got one in your battery, you don't need to do that. The electrician is to buy an isolation transformer and install it, and put a cable between the isolation transformer and the generator input, and you need to work out what you're doing between the Atto 3 and the isolation transformer. I hope that's all clear. If it's not, put a comment down below and I'll send you some more details. Okay, challenges. Now, you may not know it, but I do know that there are other electric vehicles on the road. So let's just quickly just say which other electric vehicles can you do this with. So you can do it with the MG, some of the MGs. You can do it with the Nissan Leaf. The Nissan Leaf is really good for this actually, because it actually has a lot more power output than what the Atto 3 does, and the MG. You can't use a Tesla. The Tesla does not have a vehicle to load adapter or setup at all. Elon Musk won't do it. Okay, let's look at the challenge. Oh, if you like this video, can you just put a like in so I know that I'm on the right track. Also, if you know of other people that want to utilise the technology of vehicle to home, send them a link to this video, or post on your Facebook page or whatever. And also, if you like this video and you want to see other videos I've made, down below I've got a link to all my other videos. My videos aren't clickbait, or at least I don't think they're clickbait. They're really to educate. But anyway, that's probably up to you to decide, but that's my feeling anyway. So what are the challenges? The only challenge really is the battery usage. So you're going to be using a lot more of the battery than what your driving would do if you use a lot of the vehicle to home power. Which that's probably not an issue, because the batteries last for a damn long time, a lot longer than I'll be around, I'm sure. But there is but just on the off chance that, before the warranty period runs out, the battery's degraded through some fault of the battery itself, like actually a faulty battery, and you take it to BYD Automotive. Now normally they'll look at the mileage and all the kilometres, and that it's within the range. It's not a problem, but they will be able to determine how many or how much power you've used from the battery. If you remember those videos I did on the OBD2 connector, it showed how many kilowatt hours you've actually used, how many times you've charged, and how much power you've charged into it. So that information is available. Now, if by looking at that, that they can put up a case to say you've overused the battery, you might be in trouble. I think it's a long bow to draw, because if you were to tow a vehicle which you're allowed to, tow a boat or a caravan or something that you're allowed to do, or a trailer, you're going to use a lot of kilowatt hours per 100 kilometres. So I think it's a long bow to pull by them, but it's something for you to be aware of. So that's all I want to say. So to absolutely summarise, it's really easy to have vehicles at home, either through your battery or direct. Pretend the easiest way is pretend your Atto 3 is a generator, and plug it into your house just like you would if it was a generator. Do something about the power that comes out. If you need to clean it and put a ground in by using a isolation transformer, but that's it.